Hello and welcome to AFL Tonight. I'm Ruby Slasher. It's great to have your company. These are our top stories. Opening night has arrived. The Swans and the Blues will kickstart the season. We'll take you to the SCG shortly. An injury cloud hovers over one of the Bulldogs' biggest stars. And that's not all the selection intrigue. We'll bring you the teams as they land. Well, opening night of the AFL season has arrived with the first of 218 matches about to get underway. Sydney is hosting Carlton at the SCG in a grudge match with plenty of added spice. David Zita and Steph Clarkson are there to cover all the build-up. Good evening to you both. How's the atmosphere as we count down to the Swans and the Blues?
I'll tell you what, it is bubbling here at the SCG, Ruby. It's a beautiful night, a perfect night for footy. Steph Clarkson, I mean, the atmosphere, you really can feel the excitement in the air for the AFL's return.
It's absolutely buzzing, David. We've seen Swans fans and Blues fans coming in so quickly, trying to reserve their seats. Now, a little bit earlier, we were in Swans HQ, getting in with all the bloods with them. And there were two grandmas that were really keen on you, weren't there?
Right, okay, very good. As I said to you a short time ago, Steph, it's, that's fantastic. They're up and about, and if we get to a certain point down the road, we'll consider it. But at the moment, no. But I'll tell you what we will consider tonight, and that is the form of Charlie Curnow as he plays his first game for his new club, his 150th game. But Charlie Curnow, the buzz around him, I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see him. Of course, 149 games for Carlton, back-to-back Coleman medalists. Now, I'm just visiting Sydney for the night. You live here.
Yes.
Tell us about what it's been like. Have you been able to feel the anticipation and the excitement for Charlie Curnow and what he's brought to the Sydney Swans?
The excitement Charlie has brought is unlike any other player I've seen in a really long time, especially coming here in Sydney in an NRL field environment. Charlie had fans coming at the captain's run yesterday, little kids screaming out, chanting, Charlie, Charlie, as soon as he ran on the field. It was insane. There's people with big banners saying congratulations on 150 games. It really feels like he's been a blood for a longer time than just the one game tonight.
Of course, and Will Hayward and Ollie Florent playing in this game tonight, they were collateral, really. The Sydney wanted to get Charlie Curnow, and Will Hayward and Ollie Florent were the ones who effectively had to make way. I know they were different transactions for one of them, but how they come out against their old side, that they didn't want to leave, and how they treat them on the way back will be very interesting to see, and we'll speak to assistant coach Ben Matthews about that not too long from now. But Carlton, of course, 7 new faces in Carlton's side tonight. So yes, they're not all of them are AFL debuts, but it is a very different looking Carlton side. Of course, Michael Boss remains as a coach, but there's one big name. He's the youngest probably of the lot, Jagga Smith. How excited are you about what this young kid could bring, given what we've seen already?
I don't think I'm the only one that's excited about Jagga Smith. We've heard from a lot of the experts that they think he's going to be the rising star this year. So there's big shoes to fill for him in order to get that. But his impact immediately in these 2 pre-season matches that the Blues have had, especially that one against the Cats, at 37 touches and a goal. It's not necessarily how many times he touched the ball, it was how quickly he got the ball going. We saw him partner with Cripps, partner with Walsh, and really get that ball going and transitioning for the Blues, which they've struggled with in the last couple of years. We've seen them sort of have that slower midfield balance. Now we're going to see them project and go absolutely wild. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
It is a defining year. I know Michael Voss says he doesn't feel like he's coaching for his footy life, but it is going to be fascinating to see how that plays out. How do you think tonight is going to play out? Because the Swans are definitely the favourites.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Look, I have a feeling the Swans are going to just get over the line, but something in me, my gut feeling, is saying these Blues are going to come out and play for Will Hayward and Ollie Florent. I reckon the Blues are going to come out feisty. They're going to come out playing hard, so I reckon Blues by 5.
So you
I reckon
goals
Blues
or
by
points?
5 points. Blues by 5 points. It's going to be nail biter.
Blues by 5 points. I'm probably going to have to go to the Sydney Swans, given the they've got out there. Of course, Dean Cox last year was almost coaching with a hand tied behind his back, given the amount of players he didn't have at his disposal. He's got them now, and it looks like they are certainly going to be playing a pretty aggressive style of football in 2026. And we know the new rules. Greg Swan patrolling the boundary as well. We'll have a lot of chats. Brad Johnson coming up, Tim Clark as well, Ben Matthews. We'll have all the latest for you, and we've got up to the first game of the AFL season. Carlton and Sydney, a very humid SCG. It's going to be hot and heavy out there on the ground, and it'll be a great match to watch. Ruby, I'm off to watch the game with, apparently, according to you, 2 elderly women, and it's going to be a great time. Steph, thanks for your time.
You're welcome. I'll film it and send it back for everyone. You might put it on his Twitter account.
Don't do that ever, and please never say that again. Rubes, back to you, please.
Thanks, David and Steph. You'll be covering all the build-up for us, so we'll get back to you very shortly for a check-in. Mystery still surrounds Sam Darcy's fitness ahead of opening round, with Dogs coach Luke Beveridge admitting he's had it disrupted last month. Darcy trained on Wednesday as he tries to overcome hip and groin soreness. At this stage, it seems unlikely he'll face Brisbane.
Well, he's having a strong pre-season until, we looked after him to make sure he could play full noise in the rep game, and he came out of that game a bit sore, so he's had some interruption. He hasn't played since then, and he's missed some training. So his last month has been a spluttering month, and so that's not ideal.
After he kicked 48 goals in 17 games last season, big things are expected of the 22-year-old in 2026. His coach was keen to play down any talk of a goal-kicking bonanza from Darcy.
Our push is that he's just a huge threat that creates huge headaches for the opposition, but he helps others play well as also. I think the talk around, 100 goals and how many goals he might kick, I think it's a bit fanciful.
The Dogs have confirmed 3 debutants, Connor Buderick, Michael Selwood and Lockie Jakes. Well, they're coming off back-to-back premierships, but Lions forward Charlie Curnow concedes he was disappointed with his personal output last season. Cameron was held goalless 10 times last year, but found form late by booting 4 in the grand final. It lifted his overall tally to 32 goals for the season. The 31-year-old says he's keen to show he can still match it with the best.
Obviously, it was disappointing and probably didn't live up to the standard that I want, but I understand probably you got to take little positives out throughout the year and learn from those probably mistakes and I guess not failures, but I'd probably say failures and not living up to my standard, but I learned from that and probably a bit of resilience there and trying to get into this year. So, like I said, new year, probably a different approach and understanding and can't wait to just show everyone that I can probably still match it with the best.
Fellow forward Cam Rayner is set to play against the Dogs on Saturday. He's overcome a groin complaint that kept him out of the club's 2 pre-season matches. We can take you back to the SCG now, where we're counting down to opening night. It's Sydney up against Carlton, and David Zita and Steph Clarkson can take us inside the Swans camp.
With assistant coach Ben Matthews. Ben, thanks for joining us on AFL Tonight. I think the question everyone's asking, Charlie Curnow, how much of a difference is he going to make, not just obviously to Sydney as a club in New South Wales, but to the way you play?
Oh, look, he'll hopefully make a massive difference. His presence is enormous. It's been a really refreshing sort of, having him up in the forward line, having him around training. He's got really high standards with his training. So that's been a great thing for Joel Amartey, Hayden McLean to see. And I mentioned his presence, but, those big forwards have that aura about them. And for, an Errol or an Isaac or a Chad to look up and see that presence in a forward line, hopefully we see the benefits of that. Tom Papley's, looking forward to crumbing at his feet. So, hopefully it's a great benefit for our team.
This season we'll see a few changes in the rules. We've got the ruck battles and the interchange benches, and there's 5 on the interchange now. How will you guys change and utilise that? Yeah,
look, the ruck battle is interesting, and it's, they've already made an adjustment to the rules after Brodie was faking out his opponents. So, things will evolve throughout the season, and players and umpires will get used to those little adjustments. In terms of the interchange, it's going to be interesting because, there'll be an avenue to reintroduce players who may have been out of the game for a little while, on lesser minutes. As there's no sub, you can manage them throughout 4 quarters as opposed to, potentially starting them in the sub-vest. Teams may play 2 rucks. So I think it'll evolve over the season, and how teams use it will be a little bit dependent on their situation at any given time. But, for us with, players coming back from injury, things like that, I think it'll be a huge benefit for us to be able to introduce them at AFL level without, hopefully having them to play minutes in the reserve grade. So, every team will be different. It'll take some time to adjust.
Well, Ben, thanks so much for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing what the Swans can produce in 2026.
Yeah, it's a privilege to play an opening round, and we can't wait to kick things off.
Beautiful. Back to you, Ruby.
Thanks, David and Steph. We'll check in again very shortly. Hawthorn have received a double boost ahead of opening round, with 2 key players set to face the Giants. Coach Sam Mitchell also trying out a new answer as he was quizzed on which recruits the Hawks are chasing this season.
Still sore from Origin, Tom Barrass just needed to tick a few final boxes to lock in his spot against GWS on Saturday.
Yeah, expect him to get up. He's a test for today, so he'll do a couple of extra things to make sure he's okay, but we're pretty conservative and make sure he's ready to go. So,
despite copping a 1-game ban from the MRO, Jai Newcomb's magnet has already been placed on Sam Mitchell's board thanks to the Hawks legal team.
Rob McCartney and Max Bailey and Josh McCann, they put together a pretty strong case and got him off, so it was a pretty relieved phone call. But we did a bit of contingency planning for what would happen if he wasn't in, and we would have been fine with that. So, but Rapti's going to come in and play his first game as a co-captain as well.
Hawthorn will go into the clash with a slightly thinner looking midfield than last year. Will Day is injured and James Worpel is now at Geelong. Connor McDonald's pre-season, the subject of much speculation. Will he play midfield? Who knows? But even Mitchell's family is trying to get the inside word.
My son last night, he came home and he said, I've got to put my Supercoach team. You've got to help me, Dad. And I said, I am not getting involved in that. He said, I know I need Connor McDonald. So that's where I think everyone is at. Everyone wants to know. He'll play some time forward and some time in the midfield.
The coach famously chased former Essendon captain Zach Merritt in the off-season, and speculation has already started about a pursuit of Zach Butters. Mitchell choosing a pragmatic approach as his club gets set to go into the market for a midfielder again.
I need to just I've been chatting with the media team, I just need one answer for every time I get asked about free agents and trades, and I'm just going to go with this one for today until I get a better one, but I'm not going to talk about any players from other clubs. See if that one rocks, see how the feedback is, and we might use that every time.
The Hawks have won just 1 game at NG Stadium in their history, and it happens to be last year's final against GWS. Drew Jones, Fox Sports News.
Giants captain Toby Green is preparing for extended minutes in the midfield. Green's a 3-time All-Australian with more than 400 goals to his name. The Giants have 10 players on the injury list, but Green says his midfield move was always on the cards.
Yeah, it's a good challenge. It's different. I want to play against the best mids and sort of test myself and see, if I can get to a good level within the midfield and sort of be a dual threat. So it is a good challenge, and it's something I've certainly haven't. Certainly don't think I've hit my straps yet. So I've got a bit of work to do over the next month and try and match it in there and try and help Finn and Clary and whoever else is rolling through there. I've really enjoyed it.
Phoenix Gothard will make his debut for the Giants. His call-up sparking an enthusiastic celebration from teammates. A draft bolter in 2023, Gothard's had to wait 138 days for his first taste of the big time. The small forward was recruited from Albury. Sydney and Carlton are about to open the season. Let's head back to the SCG with David Zita and Steph Clarkson.
Ruby, thank you. We are here with Brad Johnson, one of the greats, one of the all-time great. There we go, one of the all-time greats. We've got some great support here at the SCG. Just quickly, last time I saw a headline about you in the SCG, you were having a massive crack at the turf. Are you happy with it this time? You said it was a disgrace last year.
I didn't use those words.
You said a disgrace.
No, I would never have used those words. I did try and push for for a new stadium to be built in Sydney as well. Keep this iconic stadium, of course, but maybe make one that both GWS and Sydney can play their footy at as well. Maybe that's something for the future. But what a night. It's perfect conditions, and the SCG is going to be packed and pumping.
How much difference does Charlie Curnow make to the Sydney Swans?
Oh, huge. We all know that. He's such a good player. He's dynamic and hit the scoreboard regularly. So it'll be interesting early, I think, from both teams with what obviously Carlton having Florin and Hayward in their side. They'll have Hewitt to back them up from the past, and then obviously Charlie Curnow. So it'll be interesting to see how the sides handle that early on.
Now, earlier in the week, Michael Voss said there wasn't much pressure on him. We think there's a little bit of pressure on him. What are your thoughts?
Oh, there's pressure on everybody, isn't there, really? If the Blues can actually pinch this one tonight, and probably is. Sydney got one of their best teams out. So if they can do that, that's huge. Then they go into next week, could be 2-0. So it's a good start to the year for Michael Voss. It's a good start for the Blues, and the fans will be up and about, which we all love.
They've got a lot of players back that they didn't have previously, the Swans. They were injured for most of last year. What's their benchmark this season in their second season under Dean Cox?
I think they're I think realistically they're a top 6 team with the side, but it can drop away quickly. So we saw that last year with Sydney, and if they do get 3 or 4 key injuries, that it can obviously hurt them as a team. But he's got his best team in early. So for the first month of the season, he's away. He'll be looking for a fast start. And realistically, they're good enough to be a top 6 team.
Give us your insight on Jagga Smith. We've heard a lot about him the last week. Well, he's been here out for a year with that ACL, and he's coming back and he's electric.
We all wait in anticipation, don't we? And we hope his pre-season form continues on, and he absolutely sets it alight here tonight. It can be a different ground to play your first sort of game at as well. So there's that side of things for him, but then getting in the rhythm and off he'll go, and he adds depth to their midfield, so it'll help Cripps. Walsh coming back in, all of a sudden you add Smith into that, who's 25 plus possession winner on his night. So it's good for the Blues. It's exciting, and hopefully he puts a smile on their face.
A couple of quick-fire ones. Can you just share with us maybe your off-air story, one of the only ones we can share, just about your SCG experience?
Well, my first ever game here, I remember watching it as a youngster, obviously, which was Sunday afternoons, and then I actually thought the ground went the other way right, when I was watching it on telly. So my first game here, turning up, I've walked in, my bearings are completely wrong, and I played an absolute shock. I had some terrible games out here, Zita. A couple of okay ones, but some terrible ones as well.
You're doing yourself an injustice. You'd have many good ones. And just lastly, we've got a footy tip, one word, Sydney Carlton?
Sydney by 19 points at home here. Yep.
All right, very good. And just an F1 tip, because you're a racing nut.
I am. Oscar Piastri to win, and I can see that Steph is already in the zone here. She's got her race shoes
look
on.
at this.
Ready
I love
to
that you noticed. How embarrassing.
I haven't noticed this all night.
There we go. Look
My
for
goodness.
Steph to put the accelerator down tonight and Sydney to win.
Well, all systems go a bit later on, John Owen, and we can't wait for this to get underway. The Blues and the Swans will bring you up to speed a bit more a bit later on, Rubes.
How about those wheels on Steph? Thank you, David, Steph and Jono. We'll head back to the SCG very shortly. And the rest of the teams are about to drop for opening round. We'll have all the selection news next. Welcome back to AFL Tonight. I'm Ruby Slasher. It's the opening on the AFL calendar with all eyes on the SCG ahead of the Swans clash with Carlton. Let's head back to David Zita and Steph Clarkson for the latest on the Blues.
With Carlton assistant coach Tim Clark, thanks for joining us on AFL Tonight. You've got 7 new faces at Carlton this year. How do you go about trying to integrate them and not looking a bit clunky given how many new faces are there?
These boys have all integrated themselves over the pre-season. They've brought massive amounts of energy. Whether you're talking about the experienced guys that have been at other footy clubs, I think there's 4 or 5 of them tonight, or the 2 guys playing their first game tonight. They've all been able to bring their own energy to our group. There's a lot of change at the Blues over the pre-season. We can't wait to roll it out against a really good opposition tonight.
Talking about that change over the pre-season, obviously Charlie Curnow has gone to the Swans. Has that had a big impact on you guys this week? Have you had any talks about that leading up to the game?
No, there hasn't been talk about Charlie.
Surely.
He was a great teammate, great person, great Carlton man, and he's moved on. So we're a different team now. We've got a very different forward line. We've got a different way that we're moving the ball, and I'm sure there's one guy in our team that can't wait to match up on him tonight, but there hasn't been a lot of talk about Charlie, no.
Just last one. Sorry for interrupting there, Tim. Jagga Smith, how excited are you as a coach about what this young kid is producing?
Yeah, when he turned up at the start of his first season, he was exceptional with his professionalism, the way he attacked training, and to do his knee was so disappointing for him and devastating for everyone that was involved with his footy. And to see him attack his rehab, to get after it for 12 months, to invest not only in his body but in his game, I think it's the reason why he goes out and performs well. He's a true professional, he's a ripping kid, and he's going to really add value to us tonight.
Tim, thanks for your time. Good luck tonight.
No, thank you.
Ruby, back to you.
David, Steph, thanks for your work out there tonight. Looking forward to the match-up. Now, for the first in their history, the Gold Coast Suns enter a season off a finals campaign, and the addition of some high-profile recruits has only increased expectations. We caught up with Captain Noah Anderson, who spoke about raising the bar, his new teammates, and Matt Rowe's return date.
Yeah, it's been a good pre-season. I think obviously we had a positive year last year, but Dimmer and the club have been really reinforcing that we're not just going to be happy with that. You know, we want to go deeper into the year next year and then continue to improve throughout the year.
So how do you I guess, set a new standard, getting into the finals, winning your first final. That would have been huge. But so where do you cast the net in terms of motivation for 2026?
Yeah, like we're not just happy being a good team. You know, we're trying to be a great team and really set the standard for the competition and continue to chase Brisbane, who are the standard at the moment. So we understand that there's some things in our game last year that we weren't quite there with, and we've really tried to bridge the gap throughout the pre-season, and hopefully we'll continue to do so during the year.
How's Matt Rao's finger going?
It's going all right. He did a pretty good job of it, but he had surgery. He'll be saying I'm ready to go straight away, but he'll be a few weeks from the start of the year, I think, yeah.
And how's Christian Petrarca fitting in? We'll talk about Jamara shortly, but Christian Petrarca, how reinvigorated does he appear to you watching on?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like he's really benefited from a move. I think he seems just really happy with life, which is obviously translating to his football. He's obviously a really bubbly character and someone with so much charisma, so I think it's been so good to have him around the club. He's been so good with the group. And you forget, I mean, he's one of the best players in the competition. So I think that what we've seen off field hopefully helps him on field as well.
And Jamara, I mean, that was such a... How big a role did you play in getting that idea of pitching to Jamara and getting him to come to the Suns? What's it been like having him there? What can you expect from him this year?
Yeah, I think, Jimmer and the club were really good with having an open conversation with me and a few leaders about what it was going to look like from pretty early. They informed us that there were conversations being had, and then, before he eventually signed the contract, we met with him as a leadership group and spoke through some things where we felt like we needed to do our due diligence, and I think it's been really positive, I don't think it'd be fair on him to set expectations of him setting the competition alight straight away. I think the biggest thing for me has just been getting his feet on the ground, releasing expectation and just making sure he enjoys his footy again and finds his love for the game.
Just lastly, what's the benchmark for the Suns this season? What should we be thinking about when we think of a pass mark?
Yeah, well, I think for us, we're always trying to play finals footy, so I'd love to improve on where we were last year, and I'm confident that we're taking the steps, but looking forward to see if our footy does the talking.
Well, the teams have just been confirmed for the rest of opening round. To bring us up to speed with all the key selection news, we can welcome in Drew Jones. Drew, thanks for joining us. Take us to Friday night footy with the Suns hosting the Cats.
Hello, Ruby. Yeah, feels like two flag contenders colliding early in the season, doesn't it? So big news for the Gold Coast Suns is that Christian Petrarca, as we expected, will make his debut after his fantastic career over 212 games at the Demons. So he is in, and that is Zeke Hewlin, Zeke the Freak, an academy graduate, the pick 2 in last year's draft. He'll debut for Damien Hardwick's men on Friday night. So a big stage for him. I guess the big news with Petrarca being the big name inclusion, Jamara has not been selected for opening round. So he's going to have to earn his way into Damien Hardwick's side via the VFL after his nightmare year with the Bulldogs last year. But the Suns looking very strong as they go into opening round, only missing Matt Rao from their best 23 as he recovers from that hand injury. So for the Cats, a couple of pieces of massive news for you here, Ruby. So Patrick Dangerfield has not been approved as fit to play, so suffering a calf injury in recent weeks, and he just hasn't been able to get up to speed in time to make the flight to Gold Coast. So the captain is out. Brian Myers is in, thumb surgery a few weeks ago. He is right to go, but Jeremy Cameron has also missed out for the Cats. So quad injury in recent times and still rehabbing from that broken arm. It is a big selection call to leave Cameron and Dangerfield at home.
Couple of big outs. It'll be an interesting Friday night. Now, Super Saturday begins with Giants and the Hawks. Then the Lions host the Dogs. What's the news from the selection table ahead of these matches?
Yeah, so elimination final replay between the Giants and the Hawks. So Phoenix Gothard will make his debut for GWS, pick 13 in the 2023 draft. So just after his mate Connor O'Sullivan, he only went to the draft to support him, and he ends up getting taken by the Giants. He gets his opportunity to finally make his debut. Small, speedy forward. They are celebrating at training. And then Clayton Oliver, his era at the Giants begins after 205 games and 4 best and fairest at the D's, and a massive job for Clayton with no Tom Green or Josh Kelly in the side to start the season. Finn Callahan is fit to play after that hip injury. Over at the Hawks, Tom Barras got through his fitness test today. for the Hawks. So sore after the Origin game, but he is right to play on Saturday. Of course, Jai Newcombe also free to play after beating his ban at the Tribunal. No Cal Shadir yet for the Hawks. Most likely he will play through the VFL, try to break his way in. So Saturday night football, it is the two-time reigning premiers Brisbane taking on the Western Bulldogs. So a debutant for the Lions, it is Zane Zakastelski. He'll be the backup ruckman to Darcy Fort. And then Oscar Allen, former Eagles captain, makes his debut for Brisbane. For the Dogs, great news at the selection table for Luke Beveridge. Sam Darcy is in despite having a sore groin and hip. And Bailey Dale, who's suffered a knee injury during pre-season, has also been named. So they've named pretty much a full-strength squad with 3 debutants. And to round out opening round, for the first time will be in Melbourne, the MCG, it is St Kilda against Collingwood. The Saints have named all 4 of their club debutants, Tom De Coney, Sam Flanders, Liam Ryan, Jack Silvani and Cal Wilkie. Their co-captain is fit to play after his calf. 2 potential debutants at the Pies, Jack Buller and Joel Cochran. Ruby, massive opening round coming our way.
Big weekend of footy coming up. Drew, thanks so much for taking us through it. Thanks for joining us on AFL Tonight. Make sure you stay across all the latest on Fox Sports News. And on Fox Footy, it's time for the Swans and the Blues. Footy's back. Enjoy.